Our next speaker, her name is Rebecca Currie, and she's made it big. She's made it huge, and she's done it by dining for 30 days on $1 a day. $1 a day dining with Rebecca Currie made People magazine out after 10 days of this thing, and I'm like, I remember when you could do that at Taco Bell, and that's not even possible there anymore. So I'm curious to hear what she did to make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, Rebecca Currie.
Do I have a microphone? Is that working? All right. So this story happened in 2009, but actually I'm going to start it in 1989, which is when I was able to start this whole process. And I took a job in Princeton, New Jersey, and I was going to make $15,000 a year. And I was there for my interview, and somebody told me that's impossible, that you can't live here on $15,000 a year. And anytime somebody tells me something is impossible, it just makes me want to do it. Even if I don't really care, I want to do it. So I took this job in Princeton, and I was working in Princeton, and I had no money for anything, including food, and I read MFK Fisher, How to Cook a Wolf, which is a great book, and it made me feel like I was better off being poor because it was so great to be like MFK Fisher and not be able to afford anything other than really basic food. So I did that, and everything was going along fine, and I started making more money, and that was good, and I sort of was moving along, but then I was spending more money, and everything wasn't even better. It was kind of the same, and so I read Your Money or Your Life, and I started to figure out how to spend less money, and I was going along, and that's my food costs, and as things went along, I was spending less and less on food, and I finally got it down. I was about $20 a week on food, and everything was great, and my life was happy, and then in 2007, I started reading about food stamp challenges that Congress people were going on, and they were trying to eat for $21 a week, and they couldn't do it, and they said it was impossible. You just can't do it. You know, I've been doing this for years, and everything was fine, and I'm making everything. My food is good, and everything's good, and they can't do it. And then in 2008, there's another person who tries to eat for $1 a day, and he can't do it, and he says you can't do this. It's impossible. And so I look at this, and it's the same thing. Like people telling me stuff is impossible. So I started thinking about how you would eat for $1 a day, and I didn't, to kind of average it out wasn't really interesting, but the idea of eating for $1 a day, spending $1 at a time, actually was interesting to me because I didn't know if I could do it. It seemed impossible, and so I was thinking about whether or not this was possible, and thinking about strategies and how I would do it, and I was really inspired by Philippe Petit, who put up a wire in the World Trade Centers, which is definitely impossible, but he did it, and he said, impossible, just let's get started, let's work on it. So I started thinking about how I could eat for $1 a day, spending $1 at a time, and I started doing kind of reconnaissance missions in my neighborhood and looking at what I could get for $1 and what was going to happen and what stores I could go to, and I came up with a strategy of how I would start the week and what had to happen and what I would do. And so I started this project, and I went and got my first day's worth of food, and I spent $2. I spent $1. I decided I could spend $2. I was going to get $2 of food the first day, and so I spent $1.26. That's 2 days worth of food for my starting plan, and I was moving along this, and I told my friends, and my friends all know that I'm crazy, so they just were like, okay, whatever, and nobody else really was paying attention to it. So I'm moving along, and I had a whole strategy and what I was going to do. Day 2, day 3, I got beans, I got rice. I was eating beans and rice. And day 4, I got a cabbage, and I was trying to make it out of the first week with kind of a little bit of food and a little bit of money, and I figured I could do that. I could make it through the rest of it. So I get to day 4, I get the cabbage, I make stuff, everything's fine. I'm kind of going along and eating this, not terrible food. It was all healthy, it was all good, and I'm blogging about it, and I've never blogged before, but I'm writing stuff, and I'm putting receipts, and I'm being really thorough, because I'm a really thorough person, so I'm really, kind of got all this stuff on there, and people it's still just my friends reading it, and they, whatever, they're like, oh, whatever, she's crazy. So we're going along, and then other people kind of started paying attention to it. So once I got eggs on day 7. I feel like I was kind of out of the crisis point at this point. This was kind of a low point, day 8, where I went to 3 stores for 4 things and spent 70 cents on my bike for all of it, which was I'm crazy, and I didn't want to drive all over the place. So that was not the best day. And then the day after that, I get this message. A friend of mine, there's a blog called 30 Threads where they talk about stuff in the triangle, and so a friend of mine posted it to that, and somebody from NBC 17 got in touch with her and said, can I talk to this person? And I was like, sure, whatever, I don't care. So I talked to NBC 17, and actually I think it's their website. I don't realize it's on TV, and they come and film me, and we, I'm talking about my project. We go to the food line, and where they're talking to the food line, and she said, yeah, it's going to be on TV at 6:30. And I was like, oh, really? Like, I just thought it was going to be on their website. So I, you know, whatever. They'd already filmed it. It was probably good because I wasn't really nervous because I thought it was, I didn't know what it was. So we go through there, and at this point now, stuff is crazy. I'm vlogging, and I'm writing, and I'm getting food every day, and I'm biking 5 miles to get an orange. And next day, the New York Daily News calls because I see it on NBC 17, and it's the recession, and people are trying to eat healthy, and I'm eating healthy for $1, and I'm like, whatever, okay, New York Daily News, I got work to do, but if you can be here in half an hour, come take pictures. You know, I probably would have taken a shower had I known. So we go through that, and they do that, and the next day I wake up, and I've got all these messages from apparently everybody in the media from the New York Daily News. So if you want to be famous, get in the New York Daily News. So I get all these people calling me, and I'm trying to get work done, and I'm like, I gotta go work. So I get this phone call from People Magazine, then I get an email from People Magazine. They're like, we want to do a story, we love this, we love this. So I said, okay, fine. So we do the People Magazine, and my friends are totally laughing because they're like, how is this happening in your life? This is so crazy. And I've got makeup on, and one of my friends thought it was airbrushed. She's like, this is and while this is all going on, I'm still eating for $1. I'm still going through this project, and I'm it's like an upstairs downstairs thing where I'm like in the background eating for $1, and on the other side like having photo shoots with People Magazine. We're having this whole big discussion about cornmeal and grits, and there's 6,000 people reading my blog one day. And they're like, you should know what grits are. I'm like, I know what grits are. Those are not grits. So we go through the whole thing. I go through 3 days. I don't even spend my money on the last day because I'm being filmed by Good Morning America, and everything is all screwed up, and I don't end up spending the money. So I spent $28.60 in 30 days. Go through the whole project, and you know, then I have the rest of the media. It's still going on. There's more media. There's News and Observer, and I'm on WNC, and I'm on Inside Edition, which is kind of the funniest one. So I go through this whole process, and it's just a very surreal experience. The whole thing is just so strange. And you know, my point about this whole thing is that don't let anybody tell you something is impossible, because it might be impossible, but you're not going to know until you try it. So just, you know, get out there and see if you can make it happen.